Assalamualaikum. This is Adila Qayyum once again, the co-teacher for the course Communication Skills that comes under the course code ENGL 1119. A few objectives of this lecture are to recognize the barriers of effective speaking, to find how to cross these hurdles, to get to know the gist about being vocalic, to know the importance of pace in speaking, to know how to structure a speech and to get effective speaking benefits at fullest. Speaking forms a very important part in our day-to-day life. People love to talk, either they talk about themselves or about others or about any event. As soon as you allow your communication partner or partners to express their thoughts, they start participating and this enriches the experience. Much of a good speaking is not about just speaking. It is more about listening, observing, paying attention to what the partner thinks or feels, and definitely when one is speaking, he or she is using words, so word choice counts a lot. Usage of words that can cause ambiguity. Words can mean different things to different people, so we need to be aware that our expected meaning may be different from that of the other person. This can have unfortunate misunderstandings at times. Where there is no listening, speaking has no importance. So one needs to be an alert listener, not a passive listener. Poor listening can lead to misunderstanding of what is being said or can also lead to a poor response. Listening is not just hearing the words said, but it is a lot more. Listening well is one of the best things. It helps immensely to provide the speaker with the desired response that in turn leads to a healthy conversation. We are talking about human beings, so emotional barriers have a lot of importance. Some people find it difficult to express themselves. They are completely introverts and take their own time to come out of their shells. This acts as the biggest hurdle as breaking the ice at the initial stages of immense importance. Language barriers. Communication occurs across the globe. Different countries have different accents and different languages. This language difference can lead to difficulty in understanding unfamiliar accents that acts as a barrier. Lack of interest. Lack of interest of a speaker or lack of interest of a listener both play equal role. If the listener show lack of interest, then it becomes a barrier in communication. Not only lack of interest, but lack of attention, distraction, or irrelevance to the receiver are the factors that become barriers while speaking. Different cultures greatly vary in norms of social interaction as the way in which emotions are expressed differ greatly. We are talking about human beings, so human psychology differs from person to person. And when we are talking about psychological barriers, it is a state in which the receiver will be influenced by the message that is received. In other words, it is the manner in which the message can be taken by the receiver. And then last but not the least, physical barriers. Communication is generally easier over short distances as more channels are available and the technology that is used is to the minimum. Although modern technology serves to reduce the impact of physical barriers, the pros and cons should be understood to use the appropriate medium to overcome physical barriers. Thus, one can overcome barriers to effective speaking by giving your audience the chance to contribute to the conversation and make a healthy competition. This will help in improving the relationship between the speaker drastically, and you will be respected and valued in any situation where people. Words are windows or they are walls. They sentence us or set us free. When I speak and when I hear, let the love light shine through me. What beautiful lines said by Ruth Bemermeyer. And here are some tips to play with words skillfully. The first one is an intention for connection. Aim for a respectful and compassionate quality of connection so that everyone can express themselves, be heard and understood. trust that the connection is more important and more nourishing than being right or even just having your say. Connection means to try to be open and stay in touch with what matters to the other person and to yourself in each present moment. Understand the other person first. When another person feels you understand them, they are far more likely to be open to understanding you. Willingness to understand involves generosity, respect, self control, compassion, and patience. Be curious instead of furious about how others are different from you. Understand needs, wishes, and values. Everything people say and do expresses an underlying need, longing, or value. We can learn to identify and hear these needs even when they are not expressed explicitly. Because all human beings share these needs, they are our magic key to unlocking mutual understanding. For example, if someone says you are so selfish, you never do anything to help at home, they are indirectly expressing a longing for consideration and support, but it is coming out as a blame and judgment. If we can empathize rather than react, we will connect and the person will feel understood. Begin with empathy. Refrain from immediately telling your own similar story, interrogating with lots of data type questions, interpreting the other's experience, and giving advice. One upping, for example, if you think that that's bad, wait till you hear about what happened to me. That's disgusting. Dismissing the person's feeling, for example, oh, don't be angry. Dismissing the person's experience or telling the person that this experience is actually good for them. Generally, people appreciate receiving empathy more than anything else. Take responsibility for your own feelings. What someone else says or does is not the cause for how we feel. It is the trigger actually. Our feelings are stimulating by what's happening. For example, if someone does not do what they say they will do, we might tell them, you make me so angry, you are so unreliable. This inflammatory accusation could be rephrased as, I feel frustrated because it's important to me that we keep to agreements we have made. Listen more than you speak. We have two ears and one mouth, a reminder of what is important. Listening is key to a healthy relationship. Often we are only half listening, waiting for our chance to speak, wanting to make our point. When our attention is with our own thoughts, we are not listening. Listening means to enter into the word of the other person, to intend to understand them even if we disagree with what they are saying. Make requests that are practical, specific, and positive. Make requests that will help fulfill our needs. This stops us just complaining and allow the situation to change. Don't ask things of others that are too vague or too big or are expressed as a negative request. For example, stop making so much noise, be positive and specific. For example, I'm working. Can you please use the headphones while playing video games? Use accurate, neutral descriptions. When we are upset, we often interpret what has happened using judgmental language rather than accurately describing what has triggered us. This can get us into a fight immediately. For example, instead of simply stating, you didn't call me, we might interpret and then accuse, you don't care about me. First, describe the situation in a neutral, accurate way, free of judgments or blame. Then the communication can continue with sharing feelings, needs, and requests. For example, instead of saying, that's a really stupid idea, you might say, if we all go to a movie which ends at midnight, this is a neutral description. I'm worried because the children need to get a full night's sleep. Can we go to the 2 show? Be willing to hear no. Even with these guidelines, a carefully expressed request might still elicit a no from the other person. Why would this upset us? it is that our request was actually a demand that we expect the other person to fulfill. We have a choice in how we hear that no. It could be that something else is important to the other person, that they had a different need or value alive in the moment. Maybe the no is their request for something else to happen. And then we are into the dance of giving and bending. No is not a threatening as we might imagine. Listen to yourself. If even if you hate the sound of your own voice, one way to become a better communicator is to record how you participate in conversation. Do you speak in many run-on sentences? Go off on a lot of tangents? Are you hard to understand? Identify your problem areas by listening to yourself so you can fix them. Don't be afraid to pronounce. One bad habit that can get in the way of powerful speech is mumbling. Fully pronounce each syllable to prevent trailing off when speaking. Doing so also slow you down and gives audience more time to understand your thoughts. Keep it simple. If you have a lot to say, it's okay to use simple sentence structures when speaking. Speaking is long, winding sentences will lose the attention of your audience and can even make you forget what you wanted to say in the first place. Forget the fillers. One surefire way to sound less articulate is to overuse filler words such as and like and whatever. These words indicate to your audience that you are unsure of your audience, that you are your direction is unclear. As leadership expert Selena, she says, rather than these filler words considered using, let's move on to or. Another important consideration is or. Let's transition to talking about as replacement. You may say, let's transition to talking about. It is better than using all those fillers. Pay attention to your audience. Here's a tip, not many know. Your audience will play a consistent role in how you speak. Keep listeners interested in what you have to say by studying their attention levels. For example, speed up your speech if your audience already understands what you are saying, or speak at the same vocabulary level as listeners. You can even vary how high or how low your voice is in order to keep audience interested. There are many speech habit variables you may adjust. If you struggle with reciting speeches or presenting your thoughts in a clear and understandable manner, now is a wonderful time to learn how to become more articulate. As philosopher Alan Watts says, for me, being literate and articulate is a form of judo, of overcoming the system by its own method. It's really interesting lines. Here I just want to introduce a term, elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is a brief persuasive speech that you use to spark interest in what your organization does, or you can also use them to create interest in a project, idea, or product, or in yourself. A good elevator pitch should last no longer than a short elevator ride of 20 to 30 seconds, and hence the name is showing. And this could only be possible when you. A relatively new term is here, vocalic, and how to use it properly for. Vocalic is how people express themselves through voice. The voice has different vocal properties. These properties are rate or speed at which the person speaks, pitch, inflection, and variety in the voice, volume being loud or soft, and articulation and pronunciation, or how correctly and clearly the person speaks. A lowered voice level may set a tone of anger, which could create fear or challenges. A raised voice may set a tone of anticipation or uncertainty, which may promote excitement or disruption. Speak slowly. This is usually interpreted as soothing. A controlled voice is one of calm and firmness which promote confidence in both parties. Humor may unintentionally offend someone and escalate the situation. Use humor sparingly and always direct humor towards your own self. Be careful while doing so as well. Tone of voice. Emotions are given away not by what people are saying it, but how they say it. Example is speaking loudly in short sentences can show aggression, speaking gently and smiling can show care. Tone of voice, just as you speak to different people in different ways yet remain yourselves. So the tone of your speaking can vary with situation while the voice is still your own. Voice is a combination of all elements of style brought together by your own creativity and individuality. It takes practice to develop a strong voice. Rate of speed. Speaking is characterized by variation in speed. Rate of speed depends on the thought you are expressing. It reflects the mood of the speaker. Too fast or too slow? This is the question. The ultimate goal is to speak at a conversational pace. Do not attempt to speak in a completely steady pace, measuring out every word evenly. This could come off as monotone and boring. The combination of slow, fast, and the medium speed makes your speech more engaging. A very important point: when to change your speed. Fast, indication of passion, urgency, excitement, and emotion. Slow is the indication of importance, sadness, confusion, the seriousness of a point, or the introduction of new idea. Used to help the audience grasp what you are saying. When you are speaking quickly initially, it is exciting for the audience, but after a minute or two, it stops being stimulating and becomes overwhelming. When you are speaking slowly, it can grab the attention of the audience and help them process every word, but an entire talk at a slow pace will bore your audience. While waiting for you to get to the point, they will lose interest. So, what should be the strategy? Mix it up. Keep the majority of your talk in the ordinary conversation range, then change your pace to emphasize points in your message and influence the emotion of your audience. While speaking, you should be aiming for speed rate between 120 to 150 words per minute, and practice will help you achieve that sweet spot. Articulation is an act of expressing something in a coherent verbal form or an aspect of pronunciation involving the articulatory organs. Giving variation in articulation gives impact and effectiveness to your speaking skills. Many variables involved in the variation in articulation. Pay attention to the following variables in your speech habits and rate them all on a scale from 1 to 10 for yourself. Place the most focus on the area you are strongest at and the areas where you are weakest. First of all is pitch variation. Pitch variation vary the high and low frequencies of your voice to keep listener engaged and interested in what you are saying. Then voice projection. You should be capable of talking with enough intensity so that anyone who is 15 to 20 feet away can clearly understand you. Practice talking at this intensity so that people can clearly understand you and follow what you are saying, thereby drawing favorable attention to yourself. Then use of pauses. Strategically pause before and after the words and phrases you want to emphasize. Then when it comes to sentence length variation, follow long sentences after short sentences and vice versa. If you say three or more long sentences in tandem, you may lose people due to the overload of information. Okay, when it comes to self-listening, determine how the sound of your voice makes you feel and make improvement. Listen to yourself talk in a recording and pay attention to how you feel when you hear yourself talk. Do you feel positive or negative, pleasant or irritated, energizing or sleeping or sleep including? There may be a high chance that most people feel the same way when they hear your voice. Can you adjust the general tonality to something more pleasing and stick to that? Speed variation. Slow down your rate of speech when you want to emphasize certain words and phrases. Give people a chance to understand and follow what you are saying. Speed up your speech when you know they already understand the concept you are talking about. Portray self assurance and self confidence. Give people the impression that you are 100% sure of yourself. You are an authority in the subject matter you are talking about, and you believe wholeheartedly in what you are saying. Many people are disproportionately attracted to this quality, even if it's spacious. The impression of doubt and self restraint tend to repel many people, even when that's grounded on reasonable premises. Your choice of words count a lot. Your vocabulary usage matters a lot. In most cases, speak at roughly the same vocabulary level as your audience. Also, don't bring up concepts that are too far outside their perceptive experience and the context of the situation. Talk with a harmonious rhythm. Make your phrases and sentences harmonize with each other like notes on a music sheet. Time your high, low, long, and short pitches with each other, and you will have a natural flow to your speech that is pleasing to the ear. Imitate the most articulate celebrities and public figures. Do your best impressions of high articulate and successful talk show hosts, news anchors, radio hosts, actors, voice actors, etc. This is a great way to invoke benchmarks that you can use as comparison to your own voice habits and articulation levels. Practice sentences and paragraphs with audio recorders. Use audio editors such as Audacity and repeat certain sentences and paragraphs until they sound pleasant to you. Practice 15 to 30 minutes a day until your general speed habits improve. Place emphasis on words, sentences, and paragraphs that are most difficult to you to articulate. Last but not the least, self-visualization. Visualize yourself speaking well on national television and in front of large crowds, believe it or not. Your unsatisfactory speaking habits and articulation may be rooted in the fear of being the center of attention and embarrassing yourself. Your lack of articulation could result in a certain level of social anxiety that result from your own thoughts and perceptions. Picture yourself talking in situations that you think are well out of your league, and you will start to develop a peace of mind and confidence to articulate your speech carefully. In what to do before speaking. The first step to speaking is to think, and the first step to good speaking is to think positive. Good speakers have the ability to quickly analyze and absorb the information given to them, access it fast to make a decision to communicate it to the others. Be an active listener. This means listening carefully with full attention to the words, emotions, tone, and logic behind what the other person is saying. Be quick organizer of thoughts. Whether you are addressing a classroom, a nation, a board of directors, or an award show audience, making a public speech is an art based on translating your message to the audience in front of you. If you truly know your message, your audience will understand it. If you believe in your message, some of your audience will undoubtedly agree. The topics and the audience may differ, but the concept doesn't, at least not entirely. The that core concept ensures identically preparation steps prior to making any step of speech to any audience. Here are the before essentials of making a public speech. Everything you aim to project must be in your before starting your speech. Here are some pre-speaking strategies for any occasion. First of all, you have to be yourself. This pivotal idea is just as important to your public speaking as it is in your life. When it comes to public speaking, you have to know that makes you effective. Also, you must assume that you are qualified to make the speech you are about to make. Wondering if you are good enough will only lead to more wondering instead of enjoying the speech as much as you want your audience to. Take the approach you believe in. Be proud of yourself. Everyone knows that the art of public speaking simply demands confidence. However, being proud of yourself for giving this speech in the first place will boost your confidence to a new level. You have been given an opportunity to convey a message to an audience who could remember your words for a long time to come if you make it powerful. Besides, isn't that what you really want? Look at your feelings. Your feelings about the topic of your speech can and will influence your vocal projection. Your voice is an instrument that can evoke emotions in the members of your audience by conveying your own. Knowing how you feel about the topic of your speech and what you want to achieve with it precedes your vocal projection. It is the topic of speech, a learning experience, an experience with illness. Are you expecting an award and giving credits to those who helped you along the way? In keeping with your topic, it is your goal to inform others, raise awareness, or express gratitude. Whatever it may be, your goal and tone should align. You should not give an emotionless speech. Match your appearance with your attitude. Whether you like it or not, your appearance can help or hinder the point you are trying to make with your speech. You're trying to sell a conclusion. If you look great, you will feel amazing. If you manage to look appealing, tastefully striking, fresh, or styled to perfection, you will experience another confidence boost. Wowing others with your appearance, especially when standing up in front of them to speak, can only be a good thing. It couldn't be a bad thing ever. Be comfortable with your material. Although it sounds self explanatory, the importance of this particular point could not be overemphasized. You must believe in the quality of your material. If you do, your audience will agree, even if they relate to your speech in the ways you never imagined. However, what does that mean regarding the nature of your speech? If you're giving a presentation, organize your notes as well as you can and remember every relevant piece of information. If you're talking about yourself, be as honest as you feel comfortable being. You will achieve the desired connection with your audience in this way. Practice makes perfect. You need to get really familiar with the contents of your speech. If you lack confidence, the best way to do this is to try and memorize the main points. And you can use a list of notes for this. You have to go over and over it again, timing yourself so that you do not go over the time allocated. If you prefer, you can also use cards with the main points on them just in case you forget. A good idea is to number the cards just in case you drop them. Being nervous is good. Adrenaline is wonderful. It covers pain, it covers dementia, it covers everything. This is said by Jerry Lewis. You may think that all those irritating and embarrassing symptoms of butterflies in your stomach and a tremor in your voice and hand is going to mean you fail. But look at this way, these are just minor things that are happening because your adrenaline is flowing. This is giving you more energy, more determination, and also a much sharper you. Concentrate on these aspects so that you can power up rather than become a frightened mouse. These are primary instincts to help you fight. Forgot the flight bit, it will all be over soon. Something said by Brooke. I don't get stage fright. I actually love the energy. I love the spontaneity. I love the adrenaline you get in the front of a live audience. It actually really works for me. It's, the lines are too good. Think beyond the words. Let's face it, you are communicating a message or information or entertaining, or it may be a combination of all three. The words you are using are merely a vehicle for conveying your ideas. They are not sufficient on their own. You also have to use following. And please notice those followings: your gestures, your body language, your tone of voice, your speed of delivery, your pauses, and your emphasis. Get the combination of all these right, and you will make a great speech. Relax. Your confidence can lead to relaxation and vice versa. Use one to find the other or just enjoy them both. Relaxation leads to spontaneity with your lines, so to speak. Spontaneity can also add great quality to your speech. A relaxed approach will engage your audience more than you might realize before starting your speech. If you are relaxed, they will be too. They will develop an interest in the topic you are presenting and immediately have questions to ask. Pick a quote. Choosing and using a quote that applies to your presentation, your speech, in a way that speaks to you will convey the message to your audience. Using someone else's quote that relates to your material or yourself will be a striking addition to your speech. Respect your audience. It's a key point. This rule applies before and during your speech. Facing your audience with the best intention will ensure those intentions to be successfully translated to them. Whether or not you realize it, respecting your audience will allow for your speech to be interesting, engaging, and stimulating, as you will truly want to connect with them. Respect your audience for simply being there to hear what you have to say. This will automatically prompt you to give them their money's worth. You will stand in front of them motivated to reach them and will ultimately connect with them even more than you would expected. Always start from the least knowledgeable members of the audience. When faced with a mix of people, bring the topic of your speech closer to them by keeping it simple and working your way up to the complicated points you want to make. That why everyone will understand you even better. Visualize your success. Close your eyes and picture yourself delivering your talk with confidence and enthusiasm. What does the room look like? What do the people look like? How do you look? Picture your successful presentation in detail and allow your mind to help turn your picture into a reality. Now, here I want to wrap up this slide on a quote of Jane Fonda. People think that celebrities find public speaking easy, and it's not. No speech is complete without an introduction, body, and conclusion. If used correctly, these three parts of a speech will engage, inform, and motivate your audience. First of all, the opening, the introduction. The opening should include a hook to interest the listener. It might be a story, quotation, a rhetorical question, hypothetical or direct situation, or a startling fact or statistic. An introduction also established relevance and credibility. Tell your audience why the speech matters. If you need to establish your credentials as an authority on the topic, this is the part of a speech to do that. The thesis gives your audience a preview of your main points. For example, you might introduce a speech on a driving fast like this. According to the State Highway Patrol, driving over the speed limit is the cause of over half of all fatal crashes. Many people lose loved ones in car crashes, and I am no different. Body. Next, the body of the speech discusses the details of the speech's main point. It also includes transitions to help the reader follow you. For example, you might say, now that we have discussed the reason, do not drive fast. Let's turn our attention to ways to decrease speed. The points you make during the body of speech should be short and concise. Finally, the conclusion. It restates your main points and includes the final thing, which encourages the listener to think about the topic more deeply and to take action on it. For instance, today we have discussed the hazards of driving too fast and ways to prevent it. Now, please reflect on your own driving habits to see if you can save someone's life by slowing down. It's very useful in delivering speeches and especially for speaking in situations such as table topics during meetings or other events when we are asked to say something. Public speaking is a great way of building personal development on many levels, since improving speaking skills is helpful in almost every area of life, whether your goal is to engage in political debate, make a career as a motivational speaker, or gain confidence in front of an audience. Public speaking can help you meet your goals. The first advantage of public speaking is career advancement. Effective public speaking can help with career advancement as they indicate creativity, critical thinking skills, leadership abilities, voice and professionalism qualities which are very valuable for job market. Speaking at events and conferences is a good way of building credibility. The more well known the event, the better, as you can add these speaking achievements to your resume. Public speaking can also help you stand out at work. You will learn to speak up in meetings, to promote your ideas, and to present yourself as a professional. Speaking skills can also help you excel in job interviews. After speaking at a few events, people will remember you and begin to see you as authoritative figure on your area of expertise. You will find yourself getting new clients, new business from people who watched you speak. All sorts of new business and speaking opportunities will open up for you. Public speaking engagement are good places to meet other people who share your interest, and you will definitely make new social connections. You will find that people approach you after your presentation to engage in conversation. It makes it much easier to make new social connections. Try to mingle with the audience for as long as you can after your speech, answering questions and seeking fresh perspectives on your topic. Give audience members the option of getting in touch with you at a later date by listing contact information on handouts or slides. If you have a website, direct audience members to find more information there. If you are part of a speaking lineup, reach out to your fellow presenters, congratulate them, or if you miss a talk, ask how it went. Speaking is a very common phobia, right up there with spiders and heights. Many people would prefer to do almost anything instead of standing up and talking in front of a crowd of people. Delivering a speech can feel intimidating and risky. Fears and insecurities tend to multiply as the speech draws closer. What if I forget my speech? What if I can't answer the audience questions? Public speaking is a way of showing yourself that with practice you can do the things that scare you the most. What starts out as a nightmare can turn into a personal boost. Expansion of your professional networks. Another benefit of speaking is that when you speak at an event, you will suddenly find that anyone and everyone wants to talk to you. This is a valuable opportunity to make friends, building business contacts, and generating new things. Not only this, but you also get the opportunity to network with other speakers, some of whom may be very difficult to contact normally. Speaking events may also have guest rooms for speakers where they are given many things and given opportunity to sit together and talk amongst. Learn to persuade. Speaking has a long history as a catalyst for non-violent activism. It is a powerful way to unite people under a common cause and motivate them to take action. It's no secret that people throughout history have used the power of public speaking to make a difference. You'll hardly ever have a better opportunity to speak to a captive audience about what really matters to you. You will get a chance to influence your peers. You won't change the world with every speech, but you can developing and building leadership skills. If you let others do your talking for you in the past or found it hard to express what you wanted to say, that will fade. Not only will you be able to fluently speak your mind, but you will find yourself doing it for others too. In standing up and speaking in a way that is powerful, you are speaking in a way that will change people's mind about something. If you are able to master that skill, changing hearts and minds and learning how to persuade, you will be already honing one of the major aspects of leadership. If you are able to do it in public to a group of people, chances are you will be able to do it in a more individualized setting. Leaders require the capacity to drive change, and the speaking skills are vital in learning that ability. Helps to drive change. Who do we listen to more? Someone talking to us in person or an email? The person speaking is always going to be more convincing than a note sent across the internet. You could spend your time going from person to person if that's your comfort zone. But think about how many more people you could reach if you stood up on stage and had them all gathered together in an audience. If you're speaking to an audience of 300 versus 1 to 1, then you are driving serious change. The more people you are able to speak to, the more change you can implement. Confidence booster. Public speaking can significantly boost your confidence. Overcoming the fears and insecurities that accompany public speaking is empowering. Furthermore, connecting with audience can be a strong reminder that you have valuable insights and opinions to share with the world. Your confidence level will grow as you go from speaking to small groups of people up to the large audience. This will benefit you not just on stage but in everyday life as well, whether it be in a meeting or anywhere when you are talking. No fear of impromptu speaking, a new word. When called upon to say a few words at a moment's notice at a wedding, award ceremony, or other special occasion, your heart will not pound. Instead, you will find yourself graciously accepting the opportunity for an impromptu speech. This is a huge benefit of public speaking, and you will stop constantly worrying at formal events about being asked to speak. And your good speaking skills definitely develop your fluency and vocabulary. You will know the effect of the words you choose to express your message, and you will also know they need to be different for different audience, as well as having a flexible vocabulary. You will no longer use common filler words we hear in everyday conversation, indicating that the speaker may be unsure about their saying or anxious about speaking. Let's wrap up the whole lecture in this one slide. Here are some do's and don'ts to make you sounding smart. The do's are here, what you are supposed to do. You are supposed to stay calm under pressure, speak naturally. You have to be specific, use short, clear, declarative sentences. Maintain a good posture and focus on to your listeners. Take deep breaths. And what don'ts are you supposed not to do? Speaking too softly, stuttering or saying that is the filler words, poor eye contact, lack of clarity and concision, low energy, speaking too fast, not focusing on the audience, and stiff body movements. Speak well, live well, and have a great day. Thank you.